All right, everybody, welcome back. Now, I was going to do this video last week. I wanted to kind of go over everything else that happened at Blizzcon that I missed because, of course, I had to work during Blizzcon and I totally missed all the coverage. But I had that short little video going up last week and I just wanted to kind of touch on some more things that I've discovered. So I went and I watched the whole WoW panel. I watched the Q&A. I watched Classic WoW, Season of Discovery, the Cataclysm coverage. I watched it all. I went and I took notes. And I kind of condensed them a little bit now. But one of the biggest things that I totally misunderstood, and maybe I'm wrong, let me know down in the comment section below. But I thought that we were going back in time. And then when I was watching the Q&A where they kind of talked about all this, we're not. So for Midnight, they said we're going back to Quel'Thalas and we're going to reband the groups of elves. And then for the Last Titan, we're going back to Northrend. They said the old world, so I took that as going back in time. No, we're not. It's going to be the current modern zones brought up to speed with the current lore. So we're going back to Quel'Thalas. We're going back to Northrend after the events that have already taken place. So I think that's pretty cool. Like what I keep going back to Northrend. What does that look like now that the Lich King is gone and we've cleared Ulduar and we've totally brought peace to the nation? Yeah, it's going to be awesome. So that's the number one thing that I came away with all that from. Then we go into the War Within. They were kind of focusing more on that. There really wasn't too much stuff for Classic WoW, Cataclysm. They didn't go too much into the changes that they're going to be bringing. They touched on some, but I don't care that much. As long as they don't destroy the world, if they do that, that pretty much means I'm not going to play Classic WoW. And at this point, really, I'm already leaning towards doing the Season of Discovery because at least that's like Classic Plus, where it's like, that's your Classic WoW. There's a level cap. You can only go up to 25. That might be more fun to do, and it might be easier to get George and Sergio and Sass to get to level 25. So we'll see how that goes. But the War Within, the pre-order bonus, we got the Storm Rider Algarian mount that has 4 different colors. It's fine. We get an enhanced level 70 boost with better gear. Fine. Hearthstone, fine. 3 days of early access. That's kind of the main thing where you could play early. And I guess they said that they're not going to allow you, like they're going to restrict access to certain pieces of loot that may drop, so epics and stuff like that, BOEs. They're going to restrict some of that during that early access period. They don't want it to feel pay to win. I'll probably get this just because I always order the more expensive pre-order, but either way, that's there. We get the 30 days of game time, 1,000 traders tender. That's all good. Leveling, Dragonflight is going to be the new default leveling experience, so that's going to be cool because I really don't like BFA. That's when I came back to WoW. I was totally sickened by all of the gearing, and I just left a bad taste in my mouth. Mythic Plus in that era was awful, and every time we go back to a BFA dungeon in the new seasons, it just drives me nuts, but that's a subject for a later video. We're going to go to Khazalgar. That's the new subcontinent. The way that they've structured it is we're kind of going down the layers for this expansion. It's not like a big zone. So we're going to start out in the Isles of Dorne. That's where the Earthen are, and it's the main capital city, blah, blah, blah. Then you go down to the Ringing Deeps. That's like the forge and the lava, and the kobolds are down there. Then we go to Hollowfall, which is like this really cool Arathi home base. And it's this big underground cavern that's lit up by a crystal in the sky. So when they were talking about it, it gave me vibes like they were going to do a day-night cycle, which could be cool if they actually do that, where it's like we've never really had a zone shift like that between good and bad. We had some of the light in that one vampire area in Revendreth. So back in BFA, or Shadowlands, but they didn't really do that justice. The light was there, and certain zones were always lit up, and certain areas were always dark. But this, I guess, it's supposed to kind of fluctuate light and dark, and the crystal will change colors. So then we go to Azj-Kahet, which is like the Nerubian Empire. Then they announced we're going to get some new delves. Delves are going to be like a new solo dungeon kind of thing. You can do it with a group, or you can do it solo. That's totally fine. I do Mythic Plus, so that's kind of like my route for gearing, but I guess this is there for people that want to play solo. I'm going to try a new thing with this season where I don't pug as much. I'm really going to try and keep it to a bare minimum if I can. So maybe this will kind of help me in the times that I want to play, but I don't want to pug in the War Within. So Delves sound cool. They get a custom mount just like Mythic Plus and rating, so that's good. You're going to be able to actually customize it like the dragon riding mount, so that's fine. War bands are a new thing that they're doing, where this has been my biggest thing with recruiting people to WoW. It's like when you come and play World of Warcraft, it's not really time intensive unless you play more than one character, because then you run into issues of you need to farm all these different reps, you need to grind gear for all these different characters, and that's where the time really starts to inflate and balloon out of control. But warbands are kind of going to fix that, because you get a warband bank, you get warband reps, everybody that you're like, you'll get this, instead of BOP and BOE gear, you'll have this BOW gear, or warband bound items. So you can send it to your alts, but you can't sell it to other players. So warbands is going to help a lot with alt friendliness and getting new players in. I think that's a really cool feature. And there's been some rumors where like now maybe that's an avenue for them to finally go into player housing that we've been asking for a while, but that's cool. Hero talents are like it's a new feature, so every class is going to have 3 options for the hero talents, but each spec will only be able to pick from 2. So like if you're a protection warrior, you get 2 options, or if you're a fury warrior, you get 2 options, or whatever. So that's fine. They're not going to really impact your DPS too much. They will do like a little bit of customization, but it's not like a make or break kind of deal, kind of like how the Covenants were in Shadowlands. So hopefully they get that ironed out, because I would really like to be able to pick something that customizes my class without feeling like I'm restricted, Earthen are going to be a new allied race. It's going to be for Horde and Alliance. That's cool. They can be every single class except for Demon Hunter, Druid, and Evoker. So that's cool. That's fine with me. Older mounts are going to get dynamic flying, so that's a huge win. Some won't work, and the way that they explain this, it's like certain mounts don't make sense. Like the warship from the store comes to mind, where it's that big pirate ship. How could you dragon ride with that, or dynamic fly, or certain mechanical mounts, things like that. So they're going to work on it and try to get every mount to eventually work, but they won't all be available right at launch. Then we have the awesome cinematic that they released. I didn't really touch on this in the last video, but God, is it cool. It looks so awesome. Thrall is back. Anduin looks really cool. I like his new shorter haircut, and he's more like weathered and textured, and he's not so clean cut. So I hope they continue that going forward, because when we saw him back in Shadowlands, he was kind of just like a whiny looking pretty boy. So I like that they're adding some texture to his character. Let's see. Xalatath returns. She was the one that was trapped in the dagger back in Legion. Then in BFA, we released her. I guess, like, she tricked us, and N'Zoth freed her. Now she's leading the Nerubians that we're going to see in this patch. So that's cool. That's going to be, like, the first major raid encounter. We have 8 new dungeons. They have new universal transmog unlocks. The cool thing about that is it's not, from what I understand, it's not that a clothy can wear plate, but if you're on a clothy and you loot plate, it adds it to your transmog list. It's not like before where you had to be on a plate class to unlock it. Now if you're on a clothy and you get the gear, it still counts. You did the work, you looted the item, you get the transmog. There's a new battleground. Guilds, this is really big for me because I don't know if you know this, a guild master. You could apply to our guild over on Area 52. We are the Keystone Devils. We run on Friday, Saturday night, and we do Mythic Plus. Guilds are finally going to be cross-realm, so it won't matter what character your realms are on. For that, we have cross-realm auction house, cross-realm guilds as of the War Within, so this is one step closer to that RuneScape future that I've been bringing up for so long. Why does it matter what server you're on? It should not matter. Just open it up. And then the last thing I saw was that they might be doing NPC crafting orders. And they bring up a good point, because if you're doing professions in Dragonflight, unless you're at the bleeding edge, you really have a hard time leveling. And it's really like, intensive and it requires a large investment. So now if you want to level up your professions, you can possibly do NPC crafting orders. They didn't like lock that in, but that's something they may do. So I think that's a cool idea. But yeah, that's pretty much everything I saw at BlizzCon this year for World of Warcraft. I thought it was awesome. There was a lot of new cool announcements. I really enjoyed watching it. So if you have the time, go and watch it. But if you don't, that's what this video is for. So let me know what you think down in the comment section below. What was the most exciting thing that they announced at BlizzCon? Leave a comment. Let me know. And until next time, I'll see you later. This video is brought to you by your support on Patreon. Visit patreon.com/GrouchyGus94 to help support the channel.